Hey everyone, Cobra here. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, it is finally here. We are going to be going over the best heroes, the best abilities, and what to do for your talents in Avatar Legends Realms Collide. Now, a lot of people have been asking this, what are the best heroes? What abilities should I look for, and specifically, what kind of talents should I be using? Now, I've got a little bit of all of this for you. So we'll start off with heroes. What are the best for what? Now, thanks to Kuvira, one of the pro players of the game, who gave me this chart that I'm going to show you right now. So this here is the list of all of the tiers of the heroes that Kuvira made. So one thing you're going to notice right away, you're going to notice the blue ones are all on the bottom, all four of them, it says Gathering. They are literally only for Gathering, because they only have one actual combat ability for each of the four of them, so they have very little actual combat skills. Now, this chart is made mainly for PvP. PvE is very similar because it uses the same mechanics, so there's not really much change there, but specifically for PvP, since it's a little bit bigger. So then you're going to notice Borte, the one that gives you the Shattered Skulls buffs, is down here because really, that's all that she's good for. Katara is just a lot of healing, not really too needed, um, because what you really need is damage and some defense and health. But one thing you're going to notice is up at the top of the list, the SS pluses. You've got Uncle Iroh here, and you've got Kyoshi here. Now, there are a few in this that are not actually in the game yet. The reason is because this list also has some things that haven't been released, from the beta that got taken out when the game was released because they'll be coming in later. So Uncle Iroh and Kyoshi are going to be the top tiers. Now, reason for this is their abilities. I showed Uncle Iroh's ability a little bit in the last video. So Uncle Iroh has his ability, the Dragon of the West, that deals damage and reduces the enemy squad's HP for a couple of seconds. So that deals damage and then makes them take more damage. Well, basically, that's a summary of what it does. They take more damage for those seconds, so it can really quickly turn the tide of a battle. But then he also has the White Lotus leader skill that all squads in the entire march or army get a 10% chance to increase the rage gained by all the heroes by 80. And that can happen every 5 seconds. So he can buff every single one of the squads that you have. In PvE, that means, all 5, 6 of them, however many there are. In PvP, that means all 3 of them are going to get this buff. Now, that's really powerful because, it helps every single one of them get their abilities, which are then going to deal more damage. Kyoshi has similar skills in the sense that her first one, the War Fans, deals damage and reduces their HP as well. So pretty similar to Uncle Iroh's. And then she also has her Justice and Punishment skill, where when she's a leader, all troops' skill damage increases. So think of this. If you have Uncle Iroh and you have Kyoshi, you get more rage, so your skills get faster, like they come faster. You get, if you have Kyoshi as the leader, you get increased skill damage from all of them. So now they're dealing more damage with their skills that already come faster. And then, since this hero's not in the game yet, we'll come down to Azula because she's also in there. She has some high damage dealing abilities, so throw her in the mix. Now we're dealing more damage, getting our abilities faster, and their health is going to be reduced, so they're going to take more damage. Throw in a high damage dealing hero, and you're going to have a really great combo. Which is why, probably right now, the current meta, I say meta because, that's a term we use in a lot of games. The current, quote unquote, best lineup would be Uncle Iroh with Kyoshi with Azula at the moment. Now, King Boomy is going to be released soon. It's been been told that he's going to be the next hero. We actually do have leaks of his skills and everything, and I'll show you that in a minute. Um, but he's also going to be an S plus. So once he comes out, he is an alternative to Azula. But at that point, you would have to have extra. You'd have to extra Earthbenders if you were going to use him and Kyoshi at the same time, because that would be double Earth. But that's just an alternative. Those are going to be your top tiers. And then next, we're going to have Korra. And then out of the gold, the legendary heroes, Boomy, or the original Boomy, and Aang are going to be your two lower ones. As far as the purple ones go, you can see Toph and Asami are going to be the B plus. So they're going to be the best of the purples with Sokka behind, which I guess makes this very viable if you're starting as the Earth Kingdom, because then you start with Toph, which is the best of the purples, and you can get her leveled up faster. Now, if you didn't, no big deal. You can obviously get her and level her up after that as well. Not a problem. But so this is just a kind of a current list of all the tiers of the heroes. And, like I said, it's going to change. There's going to be more heroes added. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 at least, on 5 if you count Boomy, that are not actually yet released. So, things are going to change. There's going to be better lineups in the future. But this is what we're sitting at currently. This list has actually not been released. Kuvira was kind enough to give this to me before he actually uploaded it. So that is awesome. We get this inside scoop for you guys. But we'll go ahead and I'm going to go over and I'm going to show you King Boomy's abilities right now. Okay, everyone, so here we have King Boomy, and these are going to be his abilities for you. So his first ability, Power of Earth, is going to deal damage to enemy squads and increase your squad's defense. So it's basically almost the opposite of what you get from Uncle Iroh. So instead of decreasing the enemy's health, you increase your defense, but they both deal straight damage. The third one, just, skill damage reduction goes up. Fourth one gives additional hero rage. And then Wave of Earth is a really good one here. This is a passive, and this applies to your entire troop, meaning all your squads. So this is going to be the equivalent of like the White Lotus Leader, those skills that affect all of your squads in the battle. This is going to increase all troops' attack and defense by 7%, starting 15% at max. So 15% more attack and 15% more defense of all your squads. That makes a really big difference. So that's another really good one. So basically, looking at his skills, he's going to help turn you into a tank, which is why he's recommended as a garrison hero primarily. So, he's really good to be defending your city because, he's going to continuously raise your defense and, also deal pretty good damage. So that's just a sneak peek at King Boomy. He's the next one to be released, and he is in that SS plus tier. So now that I've shown you guys, the tier list of all of the different heroes, gone over which ones are the best and, the worst, and then also showed you King Boomy's abilities. Now I'm going to go into, basically what I think are the best abilities to look for. A common pattern is you're going to notice, mainly in the gold ones, the legendary ones, abilities that, like passive ones that affect all of the troops, not just, the one squad. Like White Lotus Leader, which I've mentioned, that increases the rage of all heroes in the troop, that affect all squads. And then you've got like, I gotta scroll down for this. You've got Kyoshi, which also has this one, when set as leader, all the troops skill damage increase. You've got the King Boomy that I showed you, where he raises attack and defense of all the troops. That's going to be one type of ability you want to watch out for, are the ones that do more than just one squad, because it's going to combo really well, and it's going to ultimately do, basically triple what the effect would seem like. If it was one squad, okay, that's okay. But 3 squads of troops, that makes a big difference. The next one, Kyoshi and Iroh have the, high damage plus reduce the enemy's HP. That's another one that's really good, just because it does open them, like it does give them vulnerability. They take more damage for those seconds, so when paired with the right people, it's going to deal massive damage. Ones that are not great, the gathering ones, they're not going to help you with PvP at all. You know, make them for gathering. The ones like, you know, where is she? This one, Borte, you know, that have the Shattered Skull abilities, you know, where is it? Yeah, during battle with the Shattered Skull. So really, she's not going to be as good because she's not going to help that much. You know, not all her abilities are going to work in a normal battle. So she's only really decent for Shattered Skulls. And even then, not better than a lot of the others. Katara's just got a lot of healing abilities. You know, ultimately, healing is not bad, but you got to have something with it, you know. Just straight heals isn't going to do much for you. So you want to have those real good utility skills that can help, you know, other troops that can buff defense and attack and deal massive damage. That's what I'd look for in abilities, but you have the tier list, you know, that's going to be a lot more help than just ability picking out of people. Then the last thing I want to go over real quickly is talent trees. A lot of people have also asked about talents. You know, which talents are the best to go for? You know, is there a specific set thing? So the answer is no, there is not one, you know, one size fit all answer to this question. There is no, yes, you have to go this way or you're going to make your your hero suck. It's not like that. You know, there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. I did what's like the general approach. You know, I just built my heroes for PvP. I just went down the line. I was like, okay, increase attack, increase defense, increase HP, you know, increase rage, increase attack, increase defense. You know, basically, if you go straight down the middle, you're going to end up with a pretty general build. And then at the end, you know, I split it off kind of like a trident, you know, getting more HP, more defense, you know, damage reduction. So that's one way to do it. You know, you just build a pretty general, you know, just overall PvP build. The alternative would be you build them for what their purpose is. For Borte, you build her for the Shattered Skulls. For the Gathering people, you pick the Gathering abilities. You know, if you have one that's like, let's see. She says she's a garrison hero, so you'd go through and you'd be like, okay, let's see. Where is a garrison ability? You see? I don't even see any gears. Oh, wait, here we go. During garrison battles, you know, you'd pick things like that if you're going to use her mainly for garrison. So there's, you know, each type of hero is going to have at least a few abilities that are going to be specific to whatever their purpose is. So, like, you know, during garrison battles for her, other ones are going to be during siege battles. Some of them are going to be during gathering. So one alternative would be you build specific to that hero. So if it says they're for siege, then build them for siege, which would be attacking bases and other people's cities. If it says they're for garrison, build them to defend your place, build them with the garrison abilities. Now, I'm not going to say which is better between the general versus that. It ultimately depends on how you're going to use them. If you use all your troops equally, you know, send them out, then you probably want more of a generalized, in my opinion. That is just an opinion, not a fact. You know, don't take it as law, you have to build it this way. It's just some suggestions. You can go either way. I just like general because I don't have set heroes for my garrison. I will use any of them and all of them for attacking if needed. So I just build general on all of mine. Doesn't mean that's what's going to work for you. Just build it however you want to play, whether you build it for their specific function or that. Now, I hope this helps, you know, going over the tier list, going over the talents, showing you a sneak peek of King Boomy's abilities. If it does help, please like and subscribe, you know, support my channel. I'm trying to help you guys out, learn the game as I learn it too. You know, we can all learn together so that we can have fun in this game and kick some butt. But if you guys have any questions, please let us know in the comments. I'm going to do my best to answer the questions. And, Kuvira has also offered to help answer any questions, that we may need in the chat. So leave some comments if you have any questions, whether it be about this or other topics. If there's anything else you want me to do a video on, let me know as well. And then stay tuned for more content. I will see you guys next time.